Today, the Lord has placed a wonderful sermon in my heart that I'm going to share with you, and it is captioned, Stay in your natural source of life. Stay in your natural source of life. Everything that God has created, God has placed them in an environment for them to survive, for them to live as their natural source of life. When God created the birds of the air, when God created the animals, when God created man, when God created the fishes, when God created the plants, He placed all of them in a natural place where they can survive, where they can have life, where they can live to the fullness of the purpose why God has created them. Today the Lord has placed it in my heart for me to talk unto this day that we should stay in our natural source of life. As man, what is our natural source of life? Can we look at the book of Psalm 36? We are going to look at the book of Psalm 36. We read from verses 9 to 10. What is the source of life of man that man should abide in? Because if we don't stay in our natural source of life, then automatically we are inviting death into our being. We cannot survive. No creature, no living thing can survive outside its natural source of life. Whenever you leave your natural source of life, you are inviting death onto you. The death may not be automatic immediately, but it is a gradual process of death that you must encounter at the end of the day. Can we read that? Psalm 36, read verses 9 and 10. Yes.
For with thee is a fountain of life.
He said, for with thee. It was the psalmist that was talking. He said, for with thee, O God. He said, you are the fountain of life. Yes.
In the light shall we see.
He said, it is your light that will make us to see. So without God, we don't have life. And without God, we cannot see. We gloom in the dark. He said, with your light we shall see. Yes, read on.
Oh, continue thy loving kindness.
He said, continue your loving kindness
unto them
that
know thee,
and
thy righteousness
and your righteousness
to the upright
shall do to the upright
in heart.
Good. God is the fountain of life. So God is the source of life for man. So how can we stay in this natural source of life? To stay in the natural source of life, man has to abide in God, to abide in the commandments, in the precepts of God. Otherwise, when we come out from the commandment of God, when we disobey the laws of God, we are naturally living our natural source of life. And what is that? That means what? Death unto us. Can we look at the book of John? Let's look at John chapter 1, verses 4. John chapter 1, verses 4. We have known that God created Yeshua, his only begotten Son, as the mediator. And it was Yeshua that was given the power to create every other thing. He was the one that was with God in the beginning. If you read John chapter 1, read from verses 1 straight down, before you get to 4, you see that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word himself was also God. Yeshua was empowered by God to create everything. Everything was created, and he was given power and life. In John, he said that as God have life in himself, says so it will give life unto his Son, Yeshua, to also have life in himself. So when we stay in Yeshua, we are also staying in God. He is the source of our life. The source of life of Yeshua is God. And God has empowered Yeshua also to give us life. He said that as God had life in himself, says so has he given life unto his son, so that he will also have life in himself. So whosoever that abide in Yeshua, that person will also have life. God is our source of life. Yeshua has been given the power to be the source of life of mankind. When we stay in him, then we will have life, and he is also the same light. Can we read that? John chapter 1, just read verses 4.
In him was life,
He said, in him was life.
and the life was the light of men.
He said the life that he had was the life of men. He's the one that had given life unto man to live. Yes?
And the light shineth in darkness,
And his light shine in darkness. So when you are in Yeshua, when you abide in him, then you are going to have life. He is the source of life, and you are also going to shine. Because he is the life and he is the light, then you will shine. As children of God, what are we supposed to do? Constantly, we must stay in our natural source of life. Stay in the natural source of life. When God created man, can we look at that? Genesis chapter 1. We're going to read from verses 11 and 12. Let's look at that. Genesis chapter 1. We read 11 and 12. When God created the entire universe, when God comes to the earth and he created the earth, when he created the fishes, when he created the plants, when he created every creature, there was an environment that he placed there. And it is from those environments God invoked power of life for them to exist, for them to be sustained, to have their life. Let's look at Genesis chapter 1, read verses 11 and read verses 12.
and God said,
Let
let the earth bring forth grass,
go. When God wanted to create the plants, God spoke towards the land. He spoke to the earth. He said that the earth will bring forth what? Grass. Yes?
the herb yielding seed,
To do what? An herb what? Yielding seeds. Yes?
and the fruit tree
And the fruit trees
yielding fruit
yielding fruit
after its kind,
after its kind,
whose seed is in itself
whose seed in itself
upon the earth.
upon this earth.
And it was so.
And it was so. When God wanted to create the plants, God spoke to the earth. He said, let the earth bring forth what? The plants. The earth now becomes the natural habitat, the natural source of life for the plants. So when you pull the plant out of the earth, naturally what normally happens? It will take some time. They will do what? They will die. The plants cannot stay without the earth, because the earth is the source of their what? Of their life. God has made it that when he wants the plants to come forth, he speaks to the earth. So he has made the earth now the natural source for the life of what? Of plants. Plants cannot live outside their natural source now. So what happens? By nature, if the plant is taken out of the earth, what happens? The plant gradually does what? It dies, because it has been taken out of its environment, of its source of life. Can we look at Genesis chapter 1? Go to verse 20. Read verses 20. Read verses 20.
And God said,
Let
let the waters
go
bring forth.
When God wanted to produce things that will be in the water, he speaks to the water. He said, let the water bring forth, yes,
Abundantly
abundantly,
the moving creatures
moving creatures
that hath life.
that have life. Let the water bring forth abundantly living creatures that have life. He spoke to the water, and the water became the natural source of their life, of what? The animals that live in the aquatic. That is why when you pull the fish out of water, that is its natural habitat, what happens? The fish cannot sustain for long. They die because they need the water for their survival. Stay in your natural source of life. What is the natural source of life of man? The natural source of life of man is God. And when we stay in God, then man will have life abundant. Let's look at the book of Genesis 1 also. Go to verse 26, verse 27. Let's read that.
And God said, let us make man.
Go. Now, when God is about creating man, he said, let us make man. He's now talking to his creative agent. Let us make man
in our image.
In our image. When God was creating every other creature, he never made them in his own image, because he wants himself to be the source of life of man. He has to fashion man in his own image. Yes,
after our
likeness,
and let them have dominion,
so that they will have dominion
over the fish of the sea,
over every other thing that he has created, over the fish of the sea,
and over the fowl of the air,
and
over the cattle
on the land,
and over all the earth,
and over everything on the earth that God has created. Yes, read on.
And over every creeping thing.
Over every creeping thing. Can you go on?
That creepeth upon the earth.
Yes.
So God created man. In his own image. In the image of God.
And in the image of God, He created man. So God made man in his own image. Look at chapter 2, verse 7. Let's look at that Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, and see what God says.
And the Lord God formed man.
He formed man
of the dust of the ground.
After making the dust in his image, then what happens?
And breathed into his nostril.
God now breathed into his nostril
the breath of life.
The breath of life.
And man became a living soul. The source of life for man is God. God is our natural source of life. So if we can stay in our natural source of life, then we are going to have life and life everlasting. How do we stay in our natural source of life? It's when we keep the commandments of God, when we abide in the precepts of God, live according to the life that Yeshua has asked us to live. The commandments of God, they are not grievous. They are simple to all. If only man can keep to God's plan, we are going to have life abundant. Read Genesis chapter 2. Let's read verses 16 and 17. Let's see what happened. God gave man laws that man should keep so that man will abide in natural bliss and enjoyment and paradise forever. But what happened? The first man, Adam, they broke that commandment, and because of that, man was taken out of the presence of God. And when man leaves the presence of God, what natural happens? Death is pronounced upon man. So when you stay out of your source of life, automatically death has been pronounced upon you. Genesis chapter 2, read verses 16 and 17. And the Lord God commanded the man.
Now God commanded the man, Adam, at that time, yes, saying,
of every tree of the garden,
he said, of every tree of the garden,
thou mayest freely eat.
Man is free to eat.
But of the tree of the knowledge,
of
good and evil,
thou shalt not eat of it.
Go.
We should not eat of it.
For in the day
For in the day
that thou eatest
that
thereof,
you eat of it,
thou shalt surely die.
beautiful. Only one law is actually the law of God. The law of God has been summarized into one law, and that is just the one law God has given to Adam. And that law is what? All about what? Obedience. Obedience is actually the one law of God. If we are obedient to the law of God, then what happened? We are already in the source of our what? Life. We are staying in the source of our life. But if you disobey, what did God say? He said, for the day that thou eatest of it, for the day you disobey, he said, you shall surely die. So it means that the day you disobey God, you are doing what? You are living out of your source of life. He said, for the day you eat of it, he said, you shall surely die. What happened? Adam and Eve, they were deceived by Satan. Just as what is happening today, Satan is going about like a roaring lion, seeking those that he will devour, seeking those that he will also deceive, like the way he deceived Eve in the time, and he lured Adam into what? Disobeying God. Satan just wants us constantly to disobey God. He knows that when we disobey God, we are taken out of our natural source of life, and we will not join in death. Satan has nothing good for man. The only thing he has for man is death.